So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming today. It's a little bit rainy and cold here in Garden Bay, which is a good temperature for doing a more vigorous class. So we're doing the lower back, and the front of the lower back is the third chakra at the belly button, and also into the stomach area. That we'll go into that a bit, but mainly the belly button. And this is the center of personal power, empowerment. So we'll be working with that a bit as well. So if you could just find your place and bend your knees, feel your feet. And inhale, opening up. And exhale, making a ha sound. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your hands to that belly button region. It's called the nabi. And the color of it is yellow like the sun. Inhale, so you can actually think of the sun shining there. I usually do this at the heart, but we can do it at the gut. This is good for digestion as well. Inhale. You can do a hold after inhale and feel that brilliance of that light shining all directions, giving us confidence, giving us energy, giving us power. And exhale, gather it back to the center, bow the head to the heart, feel the feet, bend the knees. Inhale, opening. Exhale, centering. And this exhale I'm doing with the mouth open is to help lengthen the exhale just as we start in an easy way. As soon as you can go to the nose, constricting the throat, Ujjayi Pranayama. Can hold after inhale. You really round the back as you exhale. And bend the knees even more. And if you like, you can bring your arms in front now. And you can move your attention now to the heart center. And just finishing up. Inhale, bring your arms up to the sides and overhead. And exhale through the center, all the way down to the feet. Inhale, if you like, visualize that radiant sun all around you. And exhale through the center. If you like, visualizing water falling down all the way to your feet. Inhale, visualize that radiance, feel that radiance. And exhale, feel that water flowing from the top of your head down your entire body, all the way down to your feet. Adding a hold after inhale, inhale. If it's comfortable, stay here for a moment or two. And you can try to tuck your lower belly in as you do this, to put less pressure on the lower back. And then exhale that waterfall down, rounding the spine. Then you can come down quite a bit now if you like. Pausing at the top. All right. Coming up onto the toes, inhale. And this time, just keeping the back straight and holding after inhale. And as you exhale, bring your hands down with your palms facing down and feel the earth. Inhale, palms up. Hold after inhale. Exhale, palms down. Feel the earth, feel the water flowing down. Inhale, feel the radiant sun. You can keep this going or stay at the top and balance. And if your balance shifts, that's fine. Every day is different. Exhale, release. So I was doing a hold after inhale at the top, but you can keep breathing at the top as well. So when we hold the breath at the top, it increases the inhale effect. It makes us a little bit more alert. It's good for increasing courage. And just finishing up. All right, we're going to try moving the arms at the front. Inhale, arms coming up on the toes. Exhale, arms coming down to the front, just that. I want you to feel the lower back as you do this. Inhale from the chest to the belly if you can. Exhale, belly to chest. And you can do that hold after inhale if you want. I'm also tucking my chin in at the top, Jalandhara Bandha, if that feels comfortable for your neck. And last time. And just pause for a minute. Place your hands on your belly button region. Just notice what comes up as you place your hands here in your power center. Maybe you'd like to make an affirmation of power, personal worth, strength, resilience, efficacy. So it could be, I am strong, I'm courageous, I'm confident, I'm capable, any of those kinds of words. I am empowered. And you can visualize that yellow light of the sun at this center. All right, so today we're going to be doing a lot of warrior poses, and we're going to be focusing on this empowerment, this courage. So I'm going to start with a variation, 1 foot forward, whatever side you like. As you bring your hands in, I want you to make fists like this. And apparently this is the original version of Virabhadrasana from the martial arts of Kerala. That's what some researchers have found, so it's kind of fun. So you bring your hands in, your elbows back, and you puff out the chest. So it's good for the upper back, but also for the lower back. So this is kind of both upper and lower back. And then as you exhale, I want you to push away and round the spine. And as you push away, you could imagine you're pushing away something that you don't want in your life, creating a boundary, saying no. So this inhale is kind of a saying yes. I want more of this. And exhale, a saying no. And you can add a hold after inhale here if you like. And you can experiment with looking up versus looking straight, how that feels in your body mind. What do you prefer, looking up or looking straight? It's going to be quite a vulnerable position. Again, you can add those affirmations to yourself as you do it. Inhale, I am empowered. Exhale, I have strong boundaries. Inhale, saying yes. Exhale, saying no. Or you can just do the movement and let the movement create that metaphor in your body mind. We're going to switch sides. So this is working upper back, neck, and shoulders as well as the lower back. So just start with that exhale movement, pressing, pushing away. Inhale, pulling in, bending the front knee. And you can add that hold after inhale. I really like looking up for some reason. It's very uplifting. And I like to look down as I exhale, but you might prefer looking straight ahead as you do both, which is the traditional, because warriors look straight forward. And just finishing up, it's a very gentle movement. All right, so you should be warming up now. We're going to do another warrior series. This time we're going to focus a little bit more on the upper or on the lower back, bringing one foot forward, the other back. Inhale, arms coming up. And at the top, maybe interlocking your fingers. So your fingers like this, if you like, or you can have your hands apart. You can put your palms together as well. This is warrior one. And play with the stance, how wide apart your feet are. We're going to do that hold after inhale. Exhale. Just that. Inhale. And play with where you are in your stance. Are you further back, or are you right in the center, or maybe even further forward? Some of you might feel better here for your back rather than creating the full arch. So you can play with that, where you want to put your weight. Dead center would be classical, but you can modify by coming further back. That's more upper back, maybe. Further forward, stretching the whole back, or right in the center. Let's keep that going your own way, your own time. I'm drawing in my lower belly as I hold after inhale to take pressure off my lower back and to strengthen my core. And let's switch sides. If you haven't already, you can always switch earlier if it becomes too much for you. So any arm position, remembering you can be in the center, you can be further back, or you can be forward, and just notice how your lower back feels, which position it prefers. So for me, that would depend on how my lower back is feeling. Some days I need to be completely stretched forward because I've got compression. Other days, it feels great to also add my upper back and get that full curve of the spine. So it just depends on the day. And I'm adding that hold after inhale to add more heat, more empowerment, more strength. This is supposed to do when it's colder outside, which it is today. And on a day where you want to activate your system, get energy moving, become more focused, deal with a challenging situation where you're feeling a bit maybe shut down, scared, unable to move forward, these are the kinds of poses to do. Great before something stressful that you're facing. So sometimes we downregulate, we do 4 bends to deal with our stress, but another way to deal with our stress is to take it head on, so to speak, and work on resilience and strength rather than softening. Work on empowerment. Let's just finish up. So this physically is pretty easy, but energetically, hopefully you're feeling the effect. And let's do a forward bend. So if you have a chair or a stool, you can use this for your forward bend, or you can use the floor of blocks. So I'll just show with the chair to begin. Inhale, arms coming front if you can. Exhale, coming forward if you can, arms in line with the ears. You can bend those knees, bring the hands down to the chair or to the floor. So that's your exhale. We're going to stay here, breath. Inhale, we're going to look up. Exhale, forward bend. I'm using my stool here and my hands to really stretch the 2 sides of my spine. Inhale, I'm coming up. I'm going to bend my knees. This is quite a bit of weight. My arms in line with my ears. Exhale, release. If that's too much weight for your lower back is starting to do this, it's feeling unstable. When you come up, just draw your hands up your legs, okay? Just get rid of those weights. Inhale. So it really depends on the day with your lower back. If you want to challenge it and give it strength work, use the arms as weights. Exhale, forward. If you want to get rid of your arms, slide them down and up your legs. Inhale, looking up. You can do this with your hands on the floor, on blocks. Exhale, release. I'm bending my knees, create traction in my spine. Inhale. Now I'm going to try to keep my arms in line with my ears. My palms are forward. Exhale, release, feel the feet. Again, alternatively, I'll just show without the arms. Inhale, arms coming to your place, maybe not all the way up. Exhale, you can come down, place your hands on your thighs. Inhale, extend, lengthen. Exhale, release. Maybe your hands go down to your feet. Inhale, slide your arms up your legs and arch the back as you come up. Exhale, relax. Last time, we're going to stay. Inhale, with or without the arms. You can also bring the arms side. That's easier for you. Exhale. We're going to stay in the full pose, Uttanasana. Adding sthiti. Inhale, extend. Exhale. Bend the knees, stretch the spine. Now notice if you can feel one side of your lower back stretching more than the other. And we're going to go into one side at a time in our next set. Maybe just stay in your forward bend now. Maybe bring your hands down to the floor. They've been on a chair. Maybe bringing the rib cage forward on the thighs a little bit if you can. Feel a stretch on the lower back as you do that. Hands can be anywhere that's appropriate for you. And when you're ready, coming up very lazily, hands up the legs, bend the knees, inhale halfway, arching the spine. Exhale, stay. Draw the belly in. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, samasthiti. And just notice how you feel. So hopefully you feel awake yet relaxed. So we did more on what we call the Brahmana side, the expansive side of the inhale and the back arch, but it was balanced with forward bends. All right, now we're going to do a pose that combines those. We're going to work one side at a time. I'm going to use the stool again, but you can just use the floor if you like. Start with your easy side forward, or if you don't know, start with your left side forward. So I'm starting with my left forward. Now we're going to move the opposite arm up. Okay, so you're going to bend the front knee and you're going to move the opposite arm up. The other hand can be at your lower back with the palm facing up or down. Up is easier. Inhale here. Now as you exhale, you're going to keep lengthening and maybe stretch that front leg. Be careful. And come down. Inhale, looking up, coming halfway up. Exhale, forward bend. So this is half forward bend. Inhale into your warrior with the opposite arm up. Exhale, starting position. Inhale, warrior one. So real focus here on lengthening the side where the foot is back. So I've got my left foot forward, my right foot back, and I'm really lengthening that right side. Inhale, arching up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, coming up, bending that front knee, just for safety. Bending it right away, going into your warrior. Exhale, release. You can do this without the warrior, with a straight leg the whole time. That's much harder. Inhale. Exhale, stretching that side where the arm is up and the foot is back. Inhale, looking up. So forward bend. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, release. And switch sides. Opposite arm coming up to front leg. The other hand on your lower back with the palm facing up or down, your choice. Inhale, warrior one. Now you're feeling the other side of your spine. So often when there's lower back pain, there's one side or the other that's a little bit more compressed. Exhale, forward bend. Might be in the upper back, but it's affecting the lower back. Might be on the upper back on one side, the lower back on the other side. Inhale, coming up, warrior one. Exhale, release. If you can remember, tuck in your belly at the end of that inhale just to decompress the spine. So right here, try to tuck the lowest part of your belly in and notice what that does to your lower back. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, stretch nice and long. And you can even walk that front hand forward. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, stretching long. Inhale, bend the front knee, then move the arm in line with the ear, coming up. Again, if this is too much, you can get rid of the arm. Exhale, release. Doing this 4 to 6 times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, looking down. Inhale, bending that front knee, coming up. Exhale, release. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale, release. Stepping back. And notice how you feel. So that was a combination of the Brahmana, the expansiveness, and the Langana, the grounding, the reduction, the centering. Inhale, up regulating, exhale, down regulating, centering. So you should feel right in the center, awake yet relaxed. And hopefully you're feeling your legs and your feet a bit more and your hips. Just notice if you've got one side that doesn't work as well as the other. Oh, wow, there's like life in there. We call that prana in yoga. All right. So let's do a forward bend just to bring this back to the center. And we're going to do crossing the feet, forward bend. You're welcome to do this at the stool. I'm going to show facing you with the floor, but you're welcome to come forward to a chair, okay? So I've got one foot behind. Start with whatever is easy for you. So usually you'll just do that first, spontaneously, if you're not sure. Inhale, arms front or sides, your choice. Front is more about adding some weight to the lower back. So when you bring the arms front, it's actually working the lower back, strengthening. Exhale, now draw the belly in. You are going to be rounding the spine, so I'm just going to show this. So you round the spine. And again, if you feel that you can only come to about here, well, you could bring your hands just to your thigh. Or you could have your hands at a chair. Or if you can, come forward. Now to start with, I might suggest arms side because it's pretty hard to bring them front with that, but you can try. And exhale, starting position, and we're going to do this again. So your choice, arms front or side, side's easier. Exhale, when you come forward, you're rounding the spine. When you come up, you're arching the spine. Inhale, arms in line with the ears, and then come up. That's a lot of weight. If it's too much, you can bring your hands to your legs. Exhale, starting position. Or you can decrease the lever by holding opposite elbows. I'm just going to show that. Inhale up. Exhale, forward, round. It's like diving into a pool. Inhale, arch the spine. You can hold opposite elbows. Exhale, starting position. So play with those variations, see which one works for you. Inhale. You can even make it harder by interlocking the fingers. Exhale. Inhale. This is my personal favorite. This one's part of my personal practice. Exhale. And this is for balancing the hips, which can really help with the lower back. One more time. Having done this 4 to 6 times, depending on the length of your breath. Hopefully you found the variation that works for you now. And you're feeling a bit of a stretch on the side of your lower back where the foot is back. So for those of you who get back spasms, on one side of your back, exhale, release. This might be a really good practice for you. Not when you're actively in a spasm, but as prevention. If you're actively in a spasm, please book me for a private session. Or just lie on the floor for a while. Inhale, arms up, and move around as you can. That's no fun. Exhale. I had my first experience of those when I was starting my yoga therapy program. It was a very stressful time, ironically. Inhale up. Exhale, release. It was one of the scariest things I'd ever experienced. But I learned a lot more about lower backs, and I haven't had one since I got those lessons. And this is one of the practices that's a must for me to make sure the 2 sides of my back are stretched. And as it relates to the hips, the balance of the hips. So often we'll have one hip higher than the other, and that causes trouble in the back. Just do this on your own now, 4 to 6 times. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, arching if you can. Arms, whatever works for you. Arms are weights, be careful. Might be feeling quite a stretch on the side of your hip and into your lower back of the foot that's back. Just one more time. And relax. All right. Find your samastiti. Notice how you feel. Those 4 bends are quite down-regulating, very relaxing. When you flow in and out like we're doing, it is quite balancing between the inhale and the exhale experience. So you should be feeling fairly even. We're going to move into the core a little bit in a yoga way through some balancing. And we've done this before. So we're going to start off nice and easy. So we're going to move into a triangle. So your feet, one leg width apart, turning one foot out, the other in. Inhale, arms coming up. And exhale, coming to the side. So just doing this without touching the leg, if you can, is actually working your core quite a bit. And it's stretching again that one side of the hip back. Inhale, coming up. So getting into the QL, quadratus lumborum. Exhale, bringing my hips one way, stretching along the other, drawing the belly in, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. And each time, maybe coming down a bit more, inhale. Now, if you need support of your leg, this is too much, do bring your hand to your leg. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms up. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. Now, can you stay here? If it's too much, keep it going up and down. As you inhale, feel that expansiveness. As you exhale, focus on your core, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Maybe you're going down a bit more now. Smile. You can see you all, it's nice. The new technology. I'll have to see what the video looks like, but it is nice to see you all. And inhale coming up. I think this class setup today was like the theme of my class. Sometimes you have to push yourself into the unknown, a little bit scary, to see if something will work that you've never done before, novelty. And usually that's the only way we progress in life. It goes a little bit uncomfortable. Inhale, arms coming up. And you know what? That's okay. You're going to have emotions of fear, anger, sadness. Inhale. Exhale. These are called kleshas in yoga. They're the coverings of the mind. And they affect the workings of the mind. Exhale. They affect how we view the world and how our mind works. Just do this in your own time. You know it now. I'm going to just be talking to you. Have a good time. Do your own time. It's nice when you do it with me, but you don't have to. So sometimes in life, it's not trying to push an experience away, but just pausing, noticing you are feeling a particular way, and standing right in the center of it without engaging. And likely you will start to engage the emotion, but as soon as you can, move back to your center and just watch the emotion like you do in meditation. Just watch the emotion and know that it's going to change. I think we've probably done this at least 4 times. Now let's stay at the bottom and see if we can stay in the pose. Now again, you can get rid of arms. So I see that some of you, that top arm is not very comfortable. So you can bring it back. That can be really helpful for the shoulder. You want to align your shoulders, just getting back to the brass tacks here. And try to tuck that belly in. We'll want to hang out. Draw that lower belly in. You can look up to the sky. Be careful, that's a lot of load on the neck. You can look front, you can look down. Utthita Trikonasana, this is a classical pose. And when you're ready, coming up with or without arms. Remember, arms are weights. Exhale, release. And notice how you feel. All right. Okay, now we're going to take the balance further to the side. So if you notice your neck is bothering you from doing that, you might want to adjust your arms, not have them up as much. It might be putting strain on your neck. Inhale, arms coming to your place. They can be up or down. Now I'm going to start with my feet together here. And exhale, you're going to come to one side and Your foot's going to go out, so that's step one, is just that. Inhale, back to the center. I always feel like I'm in ballet class when I do this. Tendu, if you've done ballet, this is called a tendu. My arms are aligned. Inhale, draw back to the center. Now, if you want to add more challenge, can you lift that foot off and go down a bit more? And I'm looking at the screen down, and that's really hard, so I shouldn't do that. I'm trying to look at something else. It's hard to balance when you do that. Inhale up. Try to pick a spot in front of you that's not moving. So you might not want to look at your screen as you do this. It's a little hard to do that. A lot of moving things in the room. And notice if one side is different than the other. Draw that belly in as you do it. Inhale. Doing a bit of a pause after exhale here. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. And inhale, coming up. Exhale, side. And exhale, release. Now, next one, I would recommend using a chair or a table or a countertop for this. This is quite challenging, or a block, at minimum a block. We're going to do what's usually called half moon. It's a variation of what we just did. We teach a Trikonasana, but with a balance. And the classical version is here, and then you go and you find your block or your table, and you go into your pose, but we're not going to do exactly that because that's pretty challenging. So we're going to start with 1 foot forward. And we're just going to set up very easily. You're going to bend your front knee. I've got my hands on my stool, and it's against the wall to make it a little safer. So I'm going to come up now. If it's far enough away from the wall where I can do this. I'm going to come up, and I can even put my head right at the wall. That's kind of nice. And I'm trying to lift that leg so it's even with my hip, and I'm looking straight ahead. And that bottom arm might be straight or it might be bent. Depends on your proportions. And you're just staying there and balancing. You can use a block or a table, chair. And that's pretty challenging, just coming out of it. We're going to switch sides. You can do a little down dog at the chair if you like, or just switch sides right away. So just coming to your spot. You can see the back side of me this time. And trying to lift your leg pretty high. Align your shoulders, align your hips. Look straight ahead or down. If you're using the floor, you'll probably need to look down. And just see if you can breathe here. And release. And you will notice probably one side, that's my easy side, is different than the other. Just coming out of it. And notice how you feel. Okay, we're going to do the balance warrior 3 balance, which is just the leg back. So again, switching legs. So I'm starting with my right leg this time. Switching legs, and you're just going to bring your leg up halfway. So you might have a tendency to lift it more. If you want, you can point your foot, try to drop that hip, and then straighten your arms. Now, if you can you bring your arms to the sides? So warrior 3 variation. Strengthening and coming out of it. So I'm going to do a down dog in between, using my stool, other side. I'm straightening my arms for this one. I could have my foot at a wall. We've done that variation before, arms at the sides. I could have my head at the wall too. I've done that and that's kind of fun. You're trying to draw the belly in. And finishing up. Do that down dog if you like. And rolling up. And notice how you feel. So those balancing poses are also very good when you're feeling fearful or unstable. They can help bring concentration and a sense of self-efficacy. Just take a moment. Notice how you feel. Place your hands at the belly button region, that power center, Manipuraka, third chakra. Color is yellow, like the sun. And maybe say your affirmation of empowerment. I'm empowered, I'm strong, I'm resilient, I'm confident. Might be one message or a few. And sometimes by working psychologically, the physical body responds with more strength. Sometimes this is the medicine actually for the lower back. Sometimes standing tall in a challenging world can be very difficult. We need to remind ourselves that we're able to face whatever it is, whatever challenge. With grace and poise. Okay, we have made it through the first hour of the class, and now you get to go on the floor. I'm going to angle my camera down. My new camera. Okay, I think you'll be able to see a lot of me. Okay, hopefully that looks good. Let me know if it doesn't. I think that will be good. Okay, so just find your place on the floor. You can use a mat or a rug, a carpet, anything you like. You'll hear me okay? See me okay? It's like it. And I'm using a wall. All right. So if you can, stretching your arms overhead. I thought we'd work on core strength today, connected to this theme. All the arms all the way to the floor behind you. And exhale, bring your arms down, your hands down. Even this, to my great surprise, when I started my yoga therapy training in India, with people with severe lower back pain, in some cases, this was their exercise. It surprisingly stretches the back and strengthens it. Exhale. So see if you can experience that, the weight of the arms. Can you connect that to your core as you draw in from the pelvic floor up to the belly button as you exhale? Now that we're lying down, this should be a little easier. Try to keep the pelvic floor area drawn in as you inhale into the upper chest, the middle chest, the belly, but draw in the pelvic floor even as you expand into the belly. You can also tuck the chin in. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Feel the lower back move into the floor as you do that exhale move. Inhale into the chest, into the belly. Keep drawing in the pelvic floor, tuck the chin in. And exhale. Pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Now you can try this without tucking the lower belly in as you do the inhale, just to relax that area. This is another approach. Inhale into the chest, into the belly, and let the belly go out completely and release the pelvic floor. Now exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Draw the belly in and up as well as the pelvic floor. Hold. 1, 2. Inhale. Chest expands. Belly expands. Chin comes in. 4-part exhale. 4 steps. Exhale, pelvic floor. Pause. Lower belly. Pause. Belly button in. Pause. Pelvic floor in and up as well as the stomach. Now hold after exhale. Draw everything in. Lower back is into the floor. Hold. Keep holding that as you inhale into your chest. Inhale into your belly. Release the pelvic floor at the top of the inhale for a moment. Tuck the chin in. And start one last time. Exhale, pelvic floor. Pause, lower belly. Pause, belly button in. Pause, everything in and up. Hold after exhale. 1, 2, 3. Relax. Bend your knees. Feet wide, angle your knees in, or keep your knees open. See how this feels in your lower back. We're going to do Dvipadipedam or bridge next. You can have a block between your thighs. I seem to be prop free today, except for my chair, but feel free to add that block cushion just to help you engage your inner thighs a bit more. That can be very helpful. Trying to keep my knees relatively aligned with my ankles, but it doesn't have to be completely aligned. I'm going to focus more on my lower back than my upper back, so I'm going to keep my arms down. Palms can be facing down or up, your choice. Inhale, lift the hips up. And at this point, you might want to walk your feet in a bit. See, get a little better aligned. Exhale, stay here. Inhale. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, stay. Inhale. Lift a little higher if you can. Exhale, coming down. And try to stay 2 breaths now. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, stay. Now, if you like, you can try lifting up on your toes and lift up a little bit more. Exhale, heels down. Another variation, inhale, widen your knees and lift up a little bit more. Exhale, center. So you can add those moves to help you get a little higher. Exhale, release. I know one of my students likes to put blocks under her feet. You know who you are, to give you more height. So that's another thing we learned in class many years ago. It was about 15 at this point. Inhale, maybe not quite that long. 11, inhale. 12, my God. Inhale, here we are. Exhale, stay. Inhale, you can lift up. I like my palms up to do this, but you might prefer palms down. Exhale, heels down, stay lifted. That can help get your glutes working a bit more. If you're like me and you have trouble doing that, inhale, you can widen your knees, lift up. Exhale, center, feet down. Inhale, one more. And exhale. So you might be shaking a bit as you do that. Try not to look at the screen too much as you do this, because you don't really get to move your head as you do this. Inhale, coming up, last time. Tucking my shoulders under, exhale, stay. Inhale, lift higher. Use any variation you like to lift higher. Exhale, stay. Inhale, try to lift higher. Exhale, stay. One more, inhale. And exhale, coming down. And hopefully you feel like you worked your lower back a bit. Exhale, bring your knees into your chest as a counter pose for a moment. Inhale, legs up, arms up. Exhale, knees into the chest. Now, so that we're not using our arms as much, let's try to use the core a bit more. Let's leave the arms down. Inhale, legs up. Flex the toes towards the nose. Exhale, point the toes. If you like, touch the toes on the ground as you exhale. At the end of the exhale, bring your knees into your chest. If you run out of breath, no problem. You can do that on a hold after exhale. Inhale. Arms up, legs up. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Knees in. Feel your lower abdominals working. Inhale. Exhale. Now, the further away you bring those toes, the harder. Last time. And we're going to go into this more deeply in a minute. With lots of variations. Urdhva, Prasarita Padasana. With Apanasana, knees to chest. You can hug your knees for a moment if you like. And rest. Hold underneath or on top, your choice. And just do some windshield wipers in case your hip flexors got involved as you did that core work. It's a very common experience that this area of the hips gets tight when we engage the core. It just takes time to train the body how to move a little bit more efficiently, recruiting the right muscles or the muscles we want to recruit without the other muscles getting involved. As we get stronger, it usually gets easier to do that, but it's also about awareness. Exhale, coming to one side. Inhale, center. And the hips, definitely part of lower back here. We're going to move into the hamstrings in a moment and link them to the core. Core in yoga is called Mula Bandha. Moving into Uddiyana Bandha. Mula Bandha, root lock, goes from the pelvic floor to just below the belly button. Uddiyana Bandha goes from this lock, the belly button, all the way up towards the heart. The stomach draws in and draws up towards the heart. So that's the whole thing. We're going to work more on the mula part, the root part. Inhale, arms coming up to your place. Now, I didn't say this, but I think most of you know, when you bring your arms up, if this is too much, you put a bed pillow behind you, a bolster, a yoga bolster, or just bring your arms up now as high. Exhale, you're going to bring one leg up. Now, if this is too much for your lower back, bend that opposite leg. Okay? Inhale, extend down, away from my wall a little bit. Exhale. Now, as you do this, I want you to start moving with the core. That's the hard part. So, inhale, extending, stretch that hip long. It's also a great way to decompress that hip. And exhale, start to exhale, then start to move. And feel like the core is moving your leg up, and I'm giving my hamstring a dynamic stretch. Oh, I just touched my, sorry, my fireplace. I don't know what I did to it. You can have that other leg down. That's much harder. It's funny. I think we just designed this house so I can fit in all of these rooms with just stretching my body long. Hopefully you can fit in your space without crashing into things. We're going to switch sides. Okay, so notice, I can do it with the legs straight, but I'm actually noticing I can recruit my core better if I have this leg bent. So that's been a good thing to notice. Inhale. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. That makes sense, that I can recruit my core more with this leg bent. I'm going to do a test here with the legs straight. You can try that. Start to exhale before you start to move. Okay, so it is possible to do. It's a little harder. I'm feeling like I'm shaking in my core as I do this. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I feel. And let's just finish up. Ekapada Urdhva Prasrita Tadasana, classical pose. All right, I know some of you are dying to stretch those hamstrings, but just wait. So we're going to work the other direction first. Bring your legs up. This is actually how my teachers in Chennai teach this. So the classical pose is just for fun. Let's see if we can do it today. So inhale here. Very important to have good technique as you do this. Exhale, pelvic floor. So that's the full pose. You do it with both legs. That's pretty freaking hard, without saying any bad words, but that's pretty hard pose. So I don't think you should start with that, and I still don't do that because it's not very effective either. Inhale, So this is another version. This is probably a little harder than what we just did. Inhale, bring one leg down. Now exhale, bring it up. And as you use those arms, oh, you should feel the core working quite a bit as you come up. I hope you're feeling that. And you can go side to side now, which is nice too. So if this is too much, go back to the earlier one with one leg bent and the other moving. That's definitely the easiest version. So you should feel yourself shaking in your core as you bring your leg up. Make sure you start exhaling before you start to move. So you want to recruit the pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Now, if you want more challenge, this is what was one of the things I did a discovery back in 2003. I just would hang out here forever and breathe. And this is how I got my core strong. Because despite being a dancer and all sorts of things, I had the weakest core ever. And I had lower back pain. And this was one of the ways I cured it, was just hanging out here and breathing. However, you might not be quite ready for that. You can keep it moving, but if you want, you can just stay there and you hover over the floor and you just breathe. Every time I exhale, I draw the lower belly in. And finishing up, exhale, legs up. And hopefully you're feeling your core about now. Let's just do the hamstring stretch, one side at a time. So I thought I'd just show without the belt today, just for fun. You can use a belt. Just hold under the thigh. You can have that other leg bent, or you can have it straight. I like to use the wall myself, just to help with alignment. If that's feeling good, you can bring the hand up to the thigh. Now, try not to get your shoulders involved. That's the downside of that. Classical is your peace fingers in your big toe and try to keep the shoulder coming down. It'll usually come up. Do the best you can. I usually don't like that because I don't like what it does to my shoulder, but I do it sometimes. And then if you want, you can add this piece, which is coming up. Hold after exhale, and then inhale down, and then it's a bit of a yoga sit up. Be careful. This can be a lot on the neck. If you're able to do it, it is said to stimulate the thyroid gland, tucking the chin in. Be careful. If you have neck issues, just hang out here. You can have your foot at a wall instead. You have this lower leg on a chair. That makes it a lot easier, or bent. So find your variation. Don't overdo it. And you can always use the belt if you prefer. We're going to switch sides. Find your variation. Lower leg can be bent. It can be on a chair. It can be on the wall. This leg can be at a wall, pressing the heel into a wall. That can be really helpful if you're really tight in your hamstrings. Maybe bring your hands up. Make sure you've got something under your head if your neck is starting to react. Tuck your chin in so your chin is not to the sky. Neck is neutral. Just see which version you like today. If you like adding that lift, hold after exhale. Recruiting pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, hold after exhale. And just finishing up. Bringing both knees in, legs up, both legs up, both arms up. You can stay here for several breaths and then move into Savasana, or if you'd like, you can put your legs up the wall and hands this way. If you can see me, mainly. Oh, I'll move this way. There. Okay. Oh, I think you can see me. So if you like, you can put your legs up the wall. You've really prepped for this. You could put a bolster pillow underneath your buttocks. You could have your legs up on a chair or on a sofa. You could tie your ankles together with a belt or your thighs with a belt. And just rest here. And just go back to your mantra. Mantra means mind, tool. Manas plus yantra, mantra, mind tool. Giving message to the mind to hold on to help it focus in one direction. Inhale M, exhale strong. Inhale M, exhale strong, or another one syllable word that links to your mantra today. If you like, you can reflect upon a moment in your life where you felt empowered, strong, resilient, able to face a difficult situation successfully. You can bring that to mind. Your mind might try to throw you the opposite, resist the temptation to think about that. Think about a moment of strength where you were successful. And when you're ready, moving out of your Savasana or your lace up the wall, Viparita Karani, in your own time. Just coming to close the class together. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Namaste. Thank you very much.